Good morning, everybody. This is Adam from Grow Life, and today we're going to build a hydroponic Bailey bucket, so stay tuned. The other day I planted some lettuce seeds in some rock wool. And, uh-oh, we've got company. That's my coffee. That's my coffee. Hang on. Okay, hydroponics basically is growing something by providing all the nutrients that plant needs in the water. All right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to build a bucket, and it's going to basically just be filled with nutrient water, and we're going to suspend some lettuce seedlings so that it's just barely touching the water and that it's going to grow. So very, very simple. We're going to use the Kratky style, the Kratky method here. All right. So basically, a few days ago, well, actually about a week ago now, I took about 8 cubes of rock wool. Okay. This is basically just, it's inert, it's volcanic rock. It's spun volcanic rock. It's almost like insulation. It kind of has that feel to it. Okay. And I put, a seed, a lettuce seed in each one. And for the seed to germinate, basically what I did was I ran the rock wool cubes with warm water just to get them wet. Put the seed in. I put a little warm water on top to make sure that the seed itself was wet and warm. Then I put a little cover over it, and I just put it actually on a shelf in the cupboard in my entertainment system for a couple days. Basically, that's all you need to let it germinate, okay? To let that thing germinate, you just need moisture and warmth, okay? That's it for a couple days. Then when it germinated, when it started springing up like a little sprout, I actually just took this thing for now. The weather's perfect. I just set it, I actually found a little container. It's like a frog tape container. Anything you could use. A little plastic fruit thing from the store that holds your raspberries or something in there. I just set it outside. Made sure it had a little water, it didn't dry out. And if you look on the bottom here, there's not much, but even coming down through, see that one little root? I mean, there's one right there, that white. And I think there's a couple things. Oh yeah, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but there's a couple white ones kind of poking out there. Basically what's happening is it germinated. We have the leaves, and once it has the 2 leaves on there, you're good. And here's where she's good to transplant, but she's got the first real leaf coming on, okay? Anyway, they're okay to transplant. I mean, some people might wait longer, but with this style, there's nothing really different going to be happening than if it's just sitting right here, except for it might have access to a little bit more nutrients. So we'll get to it. I'll show you. Hang on. I think Patch might like lettuce too. Right, Patch? What do you think? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. The Kratky method. B.H. Kratky, I believe hanging around 2009 maybe, from the University of Hawaii, figured out a way to grow stuff hydroponically without having to use electricity. Basically, in the past, if you use a deep water culture, which is basically you put the plant, it's kind of suspended on the water, on the nutrient water, you're usually pumping in at least air to put in oxygen, like air stones in your container, to put in oxygen so the plant can grow, because it does need some oxygen for the roots. However, B.H. Kratky from the University of Hawaii, he figured out a way to basically set it and forget it. And basically, it is this type of picture. Let me turn it around before the cat destroys it. All right, I'm not sure what you can see and what you can't. I'm trying to deal with my coffee and the cat. Okay, so if these were 2 buckets, all right, we have bucket number 1 when we start out, okay? We're gonna have our rock wool a rock wool with our plant, most nutrients, and then a little bit of oxygen on top. Oh my gosh. All right, and then 30 days later, here by my thumb is the nutrient water level, and up top is all the oxygen. Okay, so long story short, instead of floating on some device, the plant on the water, he learned that if you suspend the plant, have the roots, the bottom of it, just barely touching the nutrient water to start with, okay, the plant itself with a little bit of air gap, okay, the plant itself would put out and create little fine roots that would grab the oxygen from that little airspace. And as time goes on, the plant is drinking that nutrient water, and basically as the water goes down, I mean the plant is still creating more roots to create oxygen grabbers, okay, and it works. So long story short, instead of floating it and putting air in the water, you're suspending it so that the tip touches just a little bit to start with, and that there's a little air gap. So that is enough to get the oxygen to the plant initially, and then as time goes on, it's like a reverse mortgage. The nutrient water goes down and the air increases, and it was enough to produce for the plant. And it's true, I've used it multiple times. All right, so back to the bucket. I think Patch wanted to say hi. Hi. Can you guys hear that? He's a purring machine. Okay, what are you gonna need? You're gonna need a bucket or a container, and you're going to need nutrients for the water, and of course you're gonna need a plant and something to hold the plant. I already told you about the rock wool and the lettuce seedling. Buckets, easy. Okay, what about food grade and toxicity of plastics and all that stuff? Cheap and easy. Wegmans typically will give you in their pastry department, in their cake department, their bakery. This is a 4-gallon bucket, food grade. Okay, the icings come in this. You just call Wegmans up or stop by and say, hey, do you have any of those? I mean, almost daily they have them for free. Free. Food grade 4-gallon buckets. Come on. And the tops. A lot of times they'll have tops. Sometimes they'll have thrown them away already. Top, okay. With our rock wool, we're gonna want, it's an inch, so we're gonna want to drill 7/8 of a hole with a paddle bit, okay? Or anything to get just a little bit smaller than an inch, because we want to kind of wedge that rock wool down in there, okay? So basically, I have it on a drill. I put the holes right in here, okay? You don't need to have a net pot or anything, okay? 4 holes. Typically, if you're dealing with lettuce, kind of like 8 inches, so you get 4 inches on each side. This is plenty, okay? You could probably have 4 heads of lettuce here within about 4 to 7 weeks, in that range, depending on if you're counting the growth of the seedling or not, okay? All right, so basically, I'll show you just a second. All right, so basically, those seedlings I showed you earlier, okay? Rock wool right here. All right, very easy. We're just gonna, sorry, I know when I edit this, it's gonna trim it a bit, so I wanna make sure that this is in the center. This is real easy. They're in little cubes. They just come right off nice and easy, okay? And our holes that we drilled, this puppy should go right in there. Be careful of the little roots on the bottom. And basically what's happening, and she'll set right in there. So, just like the crafty, remember the picture, the terrible picture I drew? This, the bottom of this is what's gonna sit in the nutrient water in our bucket. Okay, nutrients. I'm gonna have enough for 4.5 gallons because I want, where'd you go? There you are. Hi. I want enough to fill that bucket and enough to come up to the bottom of that rock wool. So this here, this is all the nutrients I'm gonna use for that whole thing. So we're gonna grow 4 plants, 4 heads of lettuce off of that, okay? Right now I'm using nutrients from Crop King. I like them. We went and did some educational courses over in Ohio with them. I like their product. I'm using the white stuff is calcium nitrate, and the greenish stuff, it's called Hydro Grow. It's a mixture of nutrients that the plant needs. Another person online, if you're very interested in this, to look up is MHP Gardener. What a guy. I mean, he does a lot of stuff. Look at his old stuff and his current stuff. Very good and very informative, and he does tests with different nutrients and stuff. So depending on how deep you want to get into it, you know. Okay, so all I'm gonna do is put all these into my bucket. Okay, once I get the bug and the grass out of there. And I'm gonna use the hose and fill her up. Make sure it's, you know, mixed and diluted as far as no chunks or anything like that. So stay tuned. Let's see. Ooh, we're cooking now. Yeah, that's not for you, kitty. If I didn't know better, I'd say that looks like something else. Quick point too, if you guys are on city water where they treat your water, it would be good to get your volume of water and let it sit out for about 24 hours. That way the chlorine in the water will work its way out, and you won't kill your plants with our chlorine that you are able to drink. Okay, now the bucket is filled with nutrient water. I'm gonna put our rockwool cubes in here. You see, it's tapered and then it has like a collar on there. So basically, we're putting it all the way down to the collar, and that's gonna actually just hold it right in there. It's beautiful, because you don't have to spend money on net pots or anything like that. I tried to figure out a way that would be is least buying more product than you had to, you know? And this one, these are still pretty young. I mean, a lot of times you'll see some guys wait till they've leafed out even more. But at the same time, you know, what's the difference? Because you're gonna hold them in a little container, and then at this stage, you're gonna start to give them a little bit of nutrients anyway. So, same darn thing. Okay, so, boom, boom. Okay, this is filled. Very important to keep it level to begin with, because, see, this is what you want, just touching a little bit of the water, okay? Let me prove to you, we got some nutrients in there, yeah. All right, and at first, it's gonna be really full, so be careful. And these tops, they're not totally sealed, okay? So it can splash out if you're not careful. And if something's not right, you can adjust the water, add more water. I figured 4.5 gallons of my nutrients, because 4 is up to a certain point, and then I need it a little bit more just to touch. You know, you want to check it out, see if it's good enough. A lot of times that rock will start soaking up the water anyway, but if you pull this off and you see that the bottoms are wet, you're good. You know, for the first few days, keep checking on it, because you want to make sure that if it's tipped, it's not drying one of them out. Okay, there you have it, my friends. Okay, we've got a bucket full of nutrient water. For lettuce, lettuce takes about 1 gallon of nutrient water for each head. So that is beautiful, it's perfect. Okay, 1 and 1. 7 to 10 days to germinate the seed, and then typically 4 to 5 weeks for it to grow in the nutrient solution. So typically 5 to 7 weeks total from very start to finish. You should be eating good. And then if you do more than these, you can offset them. You know, do one bucket a week or something like that, so you always have a rotation of lettuce. All right, I'll show you some of our previous stuff that we've done. I know that the Kratky method works. I'll show you some pictures. All right, you guys keep growing. And hey, remember, wherever you go, that's where you are. Catch you later. So if you have any questions or comments regarding that or anything else, you'd like me to see me do another video, just leave comments and questions. I ask that you subscribe if you could. That'll help me out in the long run. See ya. Thanks.